Did you know there are three kinds of aces? Those who seek strength, those who live for pride, and those who can read the tide of battle. Those are the three. And him? He was a true ace.
What's up guys, Ace Combat Fan speaking, and welcome to the second episode of Stuff About Ace Combat. In this episode I'm gonna answer Valeric Vanguard's question: in Ace Combat 0, which style is actually canon? But before I get to that, I will explain what Ace styles in Ace Combat 0 are. But if you already know them, you can skip to the time on the annotation above. On a personal note though, it surprises me that even though Ace Combat 0 was released a long time ago, not many people understand what the Ace style is, how it works, and what changes in the game. So I'm gonna explain that first. So enough talking, let's get to it. The Ace style is a unique system feature in Ace Combat 0 and is a reflection of how you, the player, or technically Cypher, since he's the protagonist, flies and completes missions. The three different styles are Knight, Soldier, and Mercenary, which is what Pixie is referring in the first cutscene of the game. To know what your Ace style is, or see how it's changed, you can check the little bar on the bottom part of the debriefing scene. See this bar? That's what I'm talking about. And I call it the Ace meter. Now you know what it is, but let me tell you how it works. You can change your Ace style only by the way you react to yellow targets. If you destroy them, the Ace meter moves towards the Mercenary, and if you don't destroy them, the Ace meter goes to the Knight style. When I talk about the target colors, I'm talking about the three types of targets in the game. The reds, the ones you need to destroy in order to complete the mission, also seen in the HUD as a TGT. The greens, which are military units you don't necessarily have to destroy, but they give you bonus points. And the yellow targets, which are either civilian buildings or enemies that don't pose a threat to you. As an example of a yellow target, you can see this lovely windmill. I mean, what threat could a windmill pose to a fighter pilot? Another example of yellow target would be an enemy fighter that was damaged during the mission and is retreating from the airspace. He's still an enemy, but he doesn't pose any threat. So now you know what the Ace style is and how it works. But what difference does it make? Well, you probably know that the story of the game will change depending on your Ace style, or the path you take. That is true, and this is the most important thing, but that's not everything that changes depending on your Ace style. The enemy squadrons that you face in Area B7R, Mission 3, 10, and 16 will change depending on your path. If you take the Mercenary path, you're gonna face Rot, Schwarz, and Sorcerer squadrons, respectively. However, if you go in the Soldier style, you're gonna face Grun, Schnee, and Galt. And finally, for the Knight style, you're gonna face Indigo, Silver, and Wizard squadrons. Another difference between the styles is in the dialogue of the missions. There are subtle changes in them, so I'm gonna show you some examples already in Mission 1. And right after, there's also this one.
Let's model up quick and go out for a little hot rum. Let's make quick work of these suckers and treat ourselves to a little hot whiskey. Let's get this job over with and suck up a little hot wine.
As a final example, I'll put this one from Mission 17.
All V2 control facilities have been destroyed. We did it! We stopped the V2 launch! We're gonna be rich! We did it! We stopped the V2 launch! The fighting is over!
Another change related to the Ace style is in the series of interviews. You're going to interview the pilot of the squadron you shot down in areas B7R, but obviously that would depend on the Ace style you were playing. What is not so obvious though is that even for enemies that you're still gonna face anyways, such as the Gelb or the Spada squadrons, they can say slightly different things depending on which Ace style you were. Here's an example.
Warning bells were going off in the city, and the people were looking up to his plane, high above the sky. He pursued me relentlessly. As soon as I thought I'd shook him off, there he was again. The never-ending sound of the missile alerts put fear in my heart for the first time. And the people were looking up to his plane, high above the sky. It felt like he could see right through me. He was always one step ahead of me. He matched every combat maneuver I made until I used up every trick in the book. And the people were looking up to his plane, high above the sky. I couldn't see any emotion in his maneuvers. I didn't feel like I was fighting against a human being. I wanted to end that battle as quickly as possible.
And the same happens to Spiders 2 and Pix's interviews. Some slight changes, it goes more like generic stuff, followed by A-style specific stuff. Now just 2 notes before I go to the question which A-style is the canon. First, the A-style does carry over when you clear a game or if you restart the campaign. Second, the mercenary style is the most difficult one, while knight is the easiest. Okay, now time for the question. Which one is the official or the canon style in Ace Combat Zero? And the answer for that is the mercenary style. Why? Because it's the most difficult one and it's the only one that makes sense from a story point of view. Simply because it's the only style where characters from Ace Combat 5 appear, such as Pops, Bartlett, and Ashley, which is later the leader of the 8492nd Squadron. If the game is not playing in the mercenary style, the events won't connect to the Ace Combat 5 storyline. And you could say that Ace Combat 5 didn't happen, but this is madness because it looks like I'm talking something about the Back into the Future movie. Also, supporting the idea that the mercenary is the canon style, you can see throughout the game that Cypher is generally referred as a bloodthirsty mercenary, not just a soldier, and even less as a knight. To finish up, there's also another question. What about those missions where you can choose the operation you want to participate in? Which one would be the canon operation? That's kind of a gray area, but looking in at the free missions screen, the first operation that is mentioned in the briefing belongs to the mercenary style, followed by the soldier and knight styles. And this means that Cypher did not fly and escort the aircraft carrier Castro in Mission 4, since that would belong to the knight style. But like I said before, this is kind of a gray area. The way I like to think about the A style is what probably happened is the mercenary style, and for both the soldier and knight styles, they probably didn't happen, but they could have happened. There was a possibility for that. So that is the video about the A styles in Ace Combat Zero. I hope I haven't missed anything, and if I did, please make sure you let me know in the comments. I hope you're liking this new series, and see you in the next video.